I went to school in the rural part of Ghana, a place called New Edipiasi Secondary School. And I was there from 1984 to 1989. And during that time, there was shortages of teachers because most of the teachers have gone to Nigeria, and we were having to use people teachers, so to speak. So my first year in secondary school, my math teacher was called John Amwa. He introduced us to basis. So the first year he came, he's a thick, tall man, and then he introduced us to this math every morning. After the class, we were thinking that another teacher will come in, nobody. So we went to pray. So mathematics was the only thing that we were learning. But he was also a little bit handicapped because in the sense he's a trained teacher, 4-year trained teacher. So he doesn't have a lot of experience in higher topics like trigonometries and other stuff. So he only liked the base, and he's very good, and everybody liked it. So after that class, it became difficult because no teacher was picking up. So it was like that, and then I went to Form 2, then Form 3. Then you have to take majors. So I wanted to be a science student, but because of the lacking in maths, I couldn't do the science. I did business. So I was very good in maths after the 3rd year when I started taking vacation classes in Kumasi, and that is when I started to be introduced to a lot of trigonometries and then polynomials and other stuff. So, so to answer your question, I did like it, but the beginning was very, very rough. I would say it was both, because in the normal sense of things, you expect the progression of the mathematics to, go on smoothly. But here's the case: you are introduced to a topic and then it stops. You don't get to continue in that fashion whereby you kind of like it, so to speak. Yeah, because in Ghana during that time, you were in the old system. You have to pass your O level with at least aggregate 6 to be able to advance to the 6th form. And if it was very difficult. Yeah, it was very difficult. Yeah. It was due to the vacation classes that my father made me to go and stay with a relative in Kumasi to take. That really helped me, because after the first 2 vacation classes, I was on top of the class. It's a village school, so you don't have too many competitors. So you are the one now helping other students to catch up. So when I go to big town and then I come with everybody is looking up to me. But when I go to the vacation classes, I realize that I'm struggling. I'm struggling to understand most of the basic things. So 4th year, my teachers were recommending me that I should take the NOPDEC. I was in Form 4 because they've seen some progress in me. So luckily, I took the NOPDEC, and the results came, and I was able to get 3. I haven't finished. Yeah, so to that extent, I could say I did well. Yeah, so I did. By the time I went to 6th form, we did the final. The only thing I didn't have was English. So when I did my final O level, I got the English 5, which was the main thing here. Because when I did the NOPDEC, I got 7. So, so to speak, to get 3 whilst we were in Form 4, they were very happy and thought that I could do better in my future careers. Yes, I had a relative who was also in Tamale Secondary School. When I started Form 1, he was already in Upper 6. So I was looking up to him. He was a role model to me. So when he comes on vacation, he was a science student. So, and doing maths maths and biology and other stuff, chemistry. So when he comes home, he was helping me. So that also helped a lot. And with the going to vacation classes and getting those things in, that also made me to stay consistent and made the story beautiful. With regards to maths per se, because initially when I went to my vacation classes, the teacher wanted us to, I think it was trigonometry, very simple things. And he wanted us to, I think at that time we were in Form 4, so you expect to know certain things. And I was not coming up correctly, and I thought it was a disgrace, because I was getting it wrong, and all the ladies, everybody was getting it correct. And this is a combination of different students from different schools. And I'm coming from a small village school, right? And thinking that I was very good in my school. And here is the case, I've been proved wrong, so that was one of the bad experiences. But it did reinvigorate me and reinforce me to learn more. And it was, in the end, I think I like it because it forced me to overcome some of the problems I was having. Classes beside mathematics was maybe English. English was the main thing because when I was in Form 1 to Form 5, I could see only about less than 10 people passing, getting at least the 6 in my school. So it was very worrisome to me. So I started reading Things Fall Apart, reading this, what do you call it, storybook. I like the Things Fall Apart because of the plot and then characters in it. And I also like Mayor of Casterbridge. It's a storybook. When I came here, I realized that they even have a film of it that you can look at it. The Mayor of Casterbridge, we use it at Form 3. So English was my main thing because I didn't want to fail. Like, I've been experienced in my other seniors go through because of maybe English, they are not able to go to Sixford. So I took my English lessons very seriously whilst I was in vacation classes. There was a man called Owusu Echan in Kumasi. He was teaching in one of the best schools over there. So I used to attend his classes, and even whilst we were in school, I established a good rapport with him. I bought some of his pamphlets, and anytime, because I was doing up deck, I was going very often to see him, and that helped me a lot. So I was shocked when I passed English and the level, what the grade that I had. The only one that comes to mind is Mr. Amwa, because it was Form 1, 1984. I had just come from my middle school, and he made it so exciting, the basis. I usually don't forget that. Tick-Toma, he would come and write it, made it so easy. So I think he made me fall in love with mathematics, but I was thinking that I would be able to, know a lot because we didn't have teachers. It was wrong, but in the end, it ended up well. Honestly, my teachers were very good, but when it comes to that time, it was difficult to get the teachers because my assistant headmaster was supposed to teach us English. And he was involved in the administrative aspect of the school. So during his time, lessons, he won't come to class. And that time you thought, you have a free time, so you go and pray. It was when you get to the final levels, then you realize that, oh, you've misused your time. You could have used it properly. Yeah, but most of my colleagues could have done better, and they did not get the same opportunity that my father made me to go to the vacation classes. So they could have, we had very excellent students who could have done that because of lack of teachers. It didn't make it possible for them to, proceed after the O-levels. So English was, one of the things that was worrying all of us. It was the subject-verb agreements, and then especially in the O-level, there's an aspect called summarizing. Those you need to have all your grammar and other things, properly structured. And I was having difficulties in those areas. Subject-verb agreements, and it was all through the effort. I always thank Mr. Usuechan. He was very, very good. He took time. My father was a farmer in the rural part of Adansi in Ghana, and so he usually bring him cassava and plantain. He said that's all I have. So the man also was helping me, not charging me anything, because I was going to him very often for teaching. I think it was a lot. If you go back to my school, BIC Secondary School right now, because I set some simple record. It wasn't a record, but they say it's a record. From 1981 to 86, nobody had been able to get the grade that I got. But so they thought, because I was a librarian, I was always with my books and I was studying and doing stuff. I was putting a lot of time studying. Some of them I didn't understand them, but I was forcing myself to understand, because I'm from the village, and I've seen some of my colleagues after Form 5, they come back to the village. I didn't want to come back to the village. That was one thing. So I wanted every means possible to pass and go to teacher training college. If I can't make it to sixth form, then I can make it to teacher training college and at least have something to do. So that was my aim, and so I was putting a lot of time, honestly. I was reading, and some of them I wasn't understanding them, but I was forcing myself to understand. So the time that I put in was a lot. Maybe average student could have, put in less time than that. But the motivation was seeing my other relative, especially the one I was telling you, who was in Tamale Secondary School. He went from Tamale Secondary School 1 to Upper 6 and went to University of Ghana. So I was seeing him, even though we were poor, his life was a little bit different compared to the others. And I could see the only thing was making that possible was education. So I wasn't all that, my parents wasn't all that rich, but I wanted to kind of also follow the same footsteps and not stay in the village when I finished school. So all along the motivation was to progress to the next level. When you are a business student, most of the things that we do are all mathematics. Initially, when you are doing your destiny, you think that mathematics will end after the O level. But in my case, I was doing the ACCA when I was in Ghana, and maths helped me a lot in solving most of this thing. And when I came here, I was doing my certification in CG, Certified Government Financial Manager, and most of the algebra and other stuff that I was using helped me to, even though it's been a long time, but the knowledge was still there, and I could fastly work on those things. So algebra and those kinds helped me a lot. English is the medium of instruction of everything that we do. So if you cannot speak or interact fluently with your colleagues, it will be kind of difficult. I've worked in government, local government in Georgia and other stuff. So the English has helped me a lot. Even though I have a strong accent, but I'm able to relate very well. They understand what I say. So it's been very helpful. Honestly, I'm a person who can easily remember some of I was telling you about the storybooks I read, like Things Fall Apart and The Author, and Mayor of Casterbridge. I know the author is Thomas Hardy. I can't remember any textbook I came across in my Form 1 to Form 5, because it was pamphlets written by some of the non-teachers in Kumasi. So I don't exactly remember a textbook that I use, honestly. But so when I came here and I see that textbooks are freely given to students, I say, wow, then I might have missed out. Yes, honestly, because those pamphlets were just like a teacher in front of you teaching. So I kind of credit them a lot because they will solve, it was solutions to maybe past questions and other stuff. It does not take you systematically through what a textbook would have actually done. That's one of the shortfalls I see with the use of the pamphlets. But it did help. It did fill a gap. There was a need for textbooks, and textbooks was not forthcoming. These teachers put effort and get us these pamphlets written, and it helped us. And not me alone. If you ask anybody in Ghana who went to school around that time, these days I don't know exactly, but maybe textbooks are being offered. But around that time, it was difficult because it was only the teacher who had an access to one textbook. Yes, or if there are textbooks, it will be in the library and you have to go. There will be restrictions. I was a librarian. I still cannot remember a textbook that I used, honestly. Because students wasn't given textbooks. Yeah, I think once again I would say it was through the effort of Mr. Amwa, the first teacher who helped me, have a little passion for mathematics, and also Konimo. There was another guy. He went to TechSec, I think, or Kumasi Academy, yes. And after sixth form, I think he was also trying to get to university. He was a science student and took interest in teaching mathematics and wrote a lot of pamphlets. So his pamphlets helped me a lot, and I was able to convince him to I brought him to my school, local school, to teach for a while when we were preparing for exams. So he in particular helped me a lot. His name was Konibo. Yeah, and I think he still teaches at Obuasi Tech or so the last time I met. I think I would digress a little bit and say something about cell phones. These days when you go to Ghana, and I think most other, Ghana specifically, cell phone usage, I mean everybody in high school right now, I can say about 85 to 90% of them have access to cell phones. And with this cell phone and more this thing, you can easily get access to online textbooks and stuff like that. But they are not using it for that purpose. No, that's one thing and if a study is done right now, you will see what I'm talking about. Almost every student is becoming like a textbook. So if they can make good use of these cell phones and maybe try and see what this cell phone and the laptops that they have can, that would be very helpful. Even if they don't have access to the textbooks, through your internet and other stuff, you can easily get, dictionary and everything is on the internet. You can, so if I had all these things, I think it would have been marvelous. So they have a better chance. So if they don't have the textbooks, I think if you have your cell phone, you can use it very good for all this kind of stuff. So I will advise students, upcoming students, to judiciously use these digital equipments that they have access to now to advance their knowledge. Yeah, thank you very much. It's been nice talking to you. I think I don't have much to add on to what about you.
Thank you.